So now before we dive into our first practice of those key features you learned about, it's also time for a first brief summary of what we learned. And we mostly learned about how to create Vue apps and how to connect them to HTML code with Mount, that you should use some unique CSS selector here, like here the ID selector, because every Vue app can only be connected to one HTML element. And you also see already that if you control an element with Vue, like here, where we are controlling the section with Vue, you automatically also control all child elements, but not any elements outside of this Vue controlled section in this case. So one Vue app can control one part in the HTML code, but it then automatically controls all child elements as well. Well, and in this Vue controlled HTML code, you can use special features like this interpolation syntax with the double curly braces, or this binding syntax, this binding directive with vbind, or vhtml, as you also saw before. These are features which are available in that Vue controlled HTML code. Now, you can output data in there. Therefore, this interpolation and this binding syntax is also summarized under the term data binding, because we're binding data which we manage in our Vue app to the HTML code, either with the interpolation or with the vbind directive syntax. And that's the important thing. You pass an object to your Vue app, which you create with create app, and this object configures this app. You can set various options, for example, the data option or the methods option. Obviously, we're going to learn about other options throughout the course, but these are two super important options which you will probably need in any app you're building. The data option takes a function, therefore you can write it like this, which should return an object full of data, which will then be available in your Vue controlled HTML code, like Vue link here, and which can also be accessed from inside your other parts of the Vue app, like the methods, with the this keyword. Methods are also important. These are functions which you can call from inside your Vue controlled HTML code, for example. And that's what you'll learn about thus far. Now, therefore, when we work with a framework like Vue, we typically say that we use a declarative approach, or that Vue uses a declarative approach. And that's just a fancy way of saying we, as a developer, define the goal. We define a template, you could say, of the content we want to have. We mark the parts which are dynamic, like this one, or like this ref attribute here, which is bound with vbind, and Vue will then do the rest for us. It does all the magic behind the scenes, it outputs concrete values here, and it updates the real DOM, which is rendered to the screen and what the user sees behind the scenes on our behalf. So we as a developer just define the final picture with the dynamic placeholders, you could say, and we don't define all the steps of getting that picture onto the screen. That's what we do with a framework like Vue, and that's why we also typically say that Vue uses a declarative approach. We just declare our goal, we don't care about the steps of getting there. Now it's time to practice this.